Did you know that water covers approximately 70% of the Earth's surface? 98% of this water is salt, while only 2% of it is fresh water. Water is a finite resource, with only about 3% of water on the Earth fresh water, and only a portion of that percent available for human use. It is evident that water is a valuable resource, and the Earth depends on it for survival. Okanagan Lake is a freshwater resource that thousands of people in the Okanagan Valley rely on every day. Okanagan Lake is 155 kilometers long and makes up an essential part of the Okanagan Basin. The Okanagan Lake serves a number of different functions. It sustains wildlife, is used for recreational purposes, supports industrial business, allows individuals to carry out the functions of everyday life, and is necessary for agricultural practices. As citizens of the Okanagan Valley, it is important that we play our part to take care of the lake and preserve it as a natural resource. The lake is a natural habitat to a number of different species and plays an important role in their ecosystem and are necessary for the survival of other wildlife. As users of the lake, we must be mindful that it is a habitat to endangered species such as the kokanee salmon and the zooplankton. These species are threatened when people take advantage of the lake for their leisure. Many people use the lake for leisurely activities during the high tourism peaks of the summer. It is common to find an increased amount of litter in the lake around popular beaches that are harmful to all creatures that depend on the lake. Also, with the increased amount of water sports, the fuel from watercrafts adds pollution to the lake. We can play our part by keeping the water clean and preserving the natural wildlife that resides under the water by disposing of waste properly and limiting watercraft activities. Water consumption is another serious issue within the Okanagan Valley that needs to be monitored in order to protect the lake. Agriculture has steadily intensified since the 1970s and now supports a variety of uses, including large areas of dry land range and irrigated crops. The Okanagan Basin is essential to keeping the agriculture industry flourishing, since agriculture is responsible for 55% of the water use within the basin. It is estimated that an individual in the Western world, directly or indirectly, consumes roughly 1,500 to 2,000 tons of water per year, consumption that impacts both local regions as well as the hydrology of regions throughout the world. Therefore, conservation may well be one of the most important ways to manage water for future use. Concerning indoor household use, Okanagan residents use an average of 150 liters per person per day. For outdoor use, Okanagan residents use more than 1,000 liters per person per day in the spring and summer seasons. This rate greatly exceeds the BC provincial average and the overall Canadian average. These rates are somewhat alarming considering the negative impact they may have upon the future. These statistics show that the Okanagan is in high demand for water consumption, and water must be monitored to prevent future shortages. Climate change is likely to impact not only the availability of water supplies, but also water demand. Research shows that climate change, population growth, and the expansion of the agricultural land base are expected to result in significantly increased water withdrawals from surface and groundwater sources in the Okanagan Basin, especially during summer months. Competition for water in the basin, particularly during the summer, will likely intensify in the future. Access to water may be limited in the near future due to climate change. If human development and population increase, so will the use of water. Pollution will affect climate change, which could potentially result in a drought. It will then lead to limited use of water. The forecast impacts of climate change are likely to increase water demand, while adversely affecting water availability, thereby increasing the risk of drought. If a drought in the future does occur, there will be serious repercussions. For instance, with 3 consecutive years of drought, it will become more difficult to maintain current Okanagan Lake levels and adequate stream flows in the Okanagan River downstream of Penticton. Risks of water shortages for human use and environmental needs are increasing, but it is possible to compensate through land use planning, careful water management, and by reducing demand. These are solutions that we can achieve on a societal level. We can also prevent water shortages in an individual level by keeping the environment clean. Whether it's cutting back on fuel or recycling, we slow down the threat of climate change. We can also preserve water by carrying out practical measures such as cutting back on lawn area or being more mindful of our indoor water use.